But look, I want to talk about. So I want to bring it back closer to home with what's happening because we can talk about the potential for war and the crisis. I want to pull up this story from Reuters. World food prices hit 10-year peak from the Food and Agricultural Organization, which is based out of Rome. They say that this is the UN, actually. It's a UN agency saying it. FAO's Food Price Index, which tracks international prices of mostly global traded food commodities, averaged 130 points last month, the highest reading since September 2011, according to the agency's data. And check this out. America's bare shelves, Walmart and Costco, limit toilet paper sales, while toy companies warn parents their kids' Christmas gifts won't arrive in time thanks to backlog at ports, rail yards, and on the roads. Supply chain problems that have been tormenting retailers for months are showing up in America's stores around the country. There are shortages of goods on shelves in Target, Costco, Home Depot, and Sears. They're saying that the cost of shipping from China to LA is now at $20,000, 4 times what it cost last October. And I think it's like 10 times as high as it normally is supposed to be. What do you think this means for people in America? I think, we talk about the people who can stand up, who can reject the mandates. And I think we talk about this foreign conflict, but it all comes back to whether or not someone's going to be able to have food on their plate. Complying won't get you there. Ignoring what's happening around the world won't get you there. I mean, this may be one of the hardest times for a lot of people. We've gone through this golden age where people have lived so peacefully, so perfectly, with movies, with pizza. Man, you pick up your phone and you go, pizza, and then boom, a pizza shows up. You can actually pick up your phone today, press the button and say, order me a pizza, and then it'll find you a restaurant. You can get it. Now, all of a sudden, we're being told our supplies are being strained. Our food prices are through the roof. Hard to find some supplies. People are now having to experience what actual survival and hardship is going to be. And there's war around the horizon.
Yeah.
If people don't get their act together, man, start standing up for themselves, being responsible.
That's part of the problem.
Sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt. We talk about hard times, and I don't think anyone's actually thought through what a hard time is going to look like. And I think we're starting to see that so this is really simple, something really small, and something that I noticed is that there's less selection on the store shelves. Like, why don't we have 600 types of peanut butter to choose from anymore? Because we just don't have that anymore. So it's starting small, and it's going to get really bad because they're so backed up. Like off the coast of California, we're talking about how the shipping ships, the crate ships, whatever they're called.
Cargo ships,
there you go, are all backed up. And there's like hundreds of thousands of packages on there. Like you're talking about Christmas being delayed and all this other stuff. These are the hard times coming. Like, there's no way to avoid it.
Well, I guess it means strong men are coming after that, right?
That's right. Yeah. That's my thinking.
We've just been so conditioned to be comfortable.
Conditioned
to be comfortable.
Well, we're also extremely spoiled. And I kind of recognize this. And I bet you did too, Tim, after traveling a lot, going around the world. I mean, I was in Zimbabwe. I was in Venezuela. You were in Venezuela as well. When you stay with people, when you live with people, when you see the world from an international kind of perspective, from a third world perspective, it really gives you a lot of a feeling of humbleness, especially when you come back here and you have so much abundance and you have so much options, and us being spoiled is only going to add to the disaster of what's coming, because there's also going to be a lot of fears about panic buying. There's also going to be a lot of people who are unprepared for this. There's going to be a lot of latte drinking, flip-flop wearing yuppies who are going to try to tweet their way out of this problem, and there's no way of hitting the computer keyboard to help you in a situation where resources become very hard to get. So there's going to be a big reality check for a lot of individuals to see how useful they are, to see the skills that they have, to see what they could do. And it's really going to lead to a very transitionary time that I think we're starting to begin to head into right now.
I was just thinking about, we've talked about people in cities being unable to survive in the event of like a serious catastrophe. And then, Luke mentioning these hippie flip-flop latte drinking guys. And I'm just sitting here imagining, this is my first thought was, well, I'm good. We got chickens and a garden, and we're building more, and we're going to be a little bit more responsible.
In the middle of nowhere.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what would they do? And I'm thinking like, well, they might start attacking each other, stealing each other's food. But what happens when they don't have anything? What happens when they can't even, there's no people left in the cities, and they're all fleeing? And then I'm imagining like coming outside one day. I hear like there's like 2 a.m. and you hear a rustling. And then, it's like someone here is like, Tim, I think there's an animal outside. And, we grab the 410 and we go outside and we're like looking around with the light on. And then all of a sudden we see some like scraggly looking hipster wearing a flannel shirt that's all torn, and he's grabbed my chicken, and I caught him in the lights, and I'm like, hey, you hippie hipster, give me that chicken back, and he's like, oh, and then he runs,
He's
and he's
like,
like,
help!
I'm
I
chasing
need a
it.
latte.
Yeah.
I don't have my latte. Please, I need some milk.
But it is funny to think, but I'm like, that's like a real possibility. These people
Yeah.
who don't know how to survive, what are they going to do? They're going to have to look. If it ever came down to the point where the cities didn't function properly, it's very difficult to get food and resources into cities.
Right.
And if we're talking about oil prices through the roof, if we're talking about global elites that are like people shouldn't be driving, then these people in the cities who've never grown a vegetable in their life, and I'm not saying everyone in cities never done that, people have gardens, but I'm saying the ones who didn't, the true hipster, woke, socialist types, they're not just going to roll over. They're going to start screaming and pounding on walls. And then one day you out in West Virginia are going to see, to your shock, a hipster wearing like some kind of expensive clothes they got at the thrift store that was left, for some reason, grabbing your chicken and running. And like, what are they going to do with that thing? But hey, man, I would not be surprised if like in 5 years you see things like that.
What about just like an upper middle class? You have like, instead of like some hippie, you just have like a mortgage broker trying to steal your chickens. You know what I mean? Like really, like folks like that. A lot of folks who don't really have the wherewithal to like survive, and like fortunately, you guys and a lot of folks we know, like are a little prepared on when it comes to that sort of thing. Like you guys are out in the middle of nowhere. It's nice, but and that's something that I always think about too. It's like, man, and here's why I used to think about it for a while, and now I'm having second thoughts after all the COVID events. Was a lot of folks who were like really well off or get to a certain point. It's like their bug out location. A ton of folks were buying property in New Zealand. Right.
They're mountain fortresses too.
Yeah. I think Peter Thiel like bought himself a passport, and he's got a compound out there, and it's like, hey, if the crap hits the fan, like get the fam, get in the jet, and off we go.
Yep.
And I can't blame him. And it's great because if you think about it, it's like it's in the middle of nowhere. It's very hard to get to. It has mild summers, mild winters, tons of natural resources. Like I spent like a month there. It was amazing. And
Fruit everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. It's like there's no natural predators, and it has, what's funny is they have like 4 million people, and I think it's like 30 million sheep and 50 million heads of cattle right out there. And it's like Lord of the Rings is gorgeous. And it's like you can go out there and pretty much live off the land one way or another. And it's like that's a very safe place. But then with a lot, some of the restrictions and a little authoritarian government, I think you could still hide out there pretty well.
Well, in Latin America, your dollar goes a long way.
That's true.
And a lot of Latin American police officers and politicians really love getting tipped. They
But
really
look,
love the.
We're talking about when the dollar is
of course.
Yeah.
toilet paper.
And it's going to create a very, very unique, interesting situation. People in the comment section are saying that there's going to be soy-seeking hordes, people wandering about looking for soy.
Soy.
But a lot of also very powerful people bought a lot of property in Latin America. And a lot of people are also looking into Latin America because the police officers there and the law and the government there doesn't have the tools to enforce a lot of the ridiculousness as well.
You brought up mortgage broker. And so to be more practical than being like, you hear rustling, you go outside and there's a hipster like eating one of your chickens and he's like, no, but I think what might be closer to reality is, you live out, you get a homestead, you move out maybe to like central West Virginia. There's a lot of farms out here and they're amazing. Almost all the farms you can pull up and you buy fresh foods. We went to one place, they had like a trailer and they had we got tenderloins. They were amazing. So what'll happen is one day, the mortgage broker will walk up onto your property with a briefcase wearing a nice little suit. And you'll be like, what can I do you for? And he'll be like, I need to work. The cities can't sustain me. What am I supposed to do? So I'm out here trying to find a job. I can do anything. And then, this farmer is going to be like, what can you do? What did you work? I'm a mortgage broker. Do you know how to, till a field? No. Do you know how to help tend to the chickens? No. Cows? No. I don't think there's anything you can do for me.
Yeah.
Maybe you can lift heavy things. We'll figure it out. But then what happens is when this guy gets rejected, he comes back in the middle of the night and tries to steal because people are not going to roll over. They need to survive.
Yeah. Just like a desperate bear will make desperate moves.
That's
He's
right.
going to be like, hey, I have these Federal Reserve fiat notes I could give you. Do you want them? And I don't care if he has millions of them. If he can't have real life skills to fix things, build things, or make his own way, I'm not interested in working with any of those people.
Tim, are you going to be like the next Rick Grimes, from Walking Dead?
No,
it's
I
like the
didn't see
leader.
it.
Oh, you said,
What does he
Walking,
do?
like
I like
zombie
that movie.
apocalypse.
I
He was
know,
like
I
the
know.
leader, but it was just one of those things like he was like the leader of a had a compound, and they're traveling, and it's like all the stuff you guys have described. I'm like, God, sounds like
We have a caravan. Some people
Yeah.
People in the comment section are saying soybees. instead of zombies.
Zoibees.
There's going to be a bunch of zoibees around,
Yeah.
running around. So I
Yeah.
mean, it could be like The Walking Dead, but again, that's kind of it's very entertaining to talk about these kind of cultural issues. But when you kind of do look at South Africa, the situation there has already turned pretty bad.
Yeah.
The human beings are very resilient. They'll always find a way. That's why when you said people will become hardened, people will become smarter, people will become more in tune to the land, I think there's also going to be a lot of vast opportunities for that, where a lot of city dwellers are going to return to farming, self-sustainable lifestyles because of necessity. And I think that's going to be a good thing. Right now, most of our farming is factory farming. A lot of it is Monsanto. A lot of it is GMO. A lot of it is absolute bullcrap. A lot of it is owned by Bill Gates to try to create fake meat. But again, when things fall down, we're also going to understand that the authorities won't be able to hold things together, and there's going to be a free for all. And
It's already they
Yeah.
can't hold things together. When we see these stories about the federal government's heavy hand making statements about going after parents, that's like a frightened bear. It's an animal trying to look bigger and scare you. It's the animal puffing up, and it's the blowfish going. Brr. It's like, okay, I'll stay away from you, but
It's kind of fake authority too, because like real authority comes heavy and hard with weapons. These guys, they're trying to be nice. This is like the federal government's like, hey, do what we say, but we're not going to mess with you. But like a real authoritarian government would be like, going to mow down who disagrees, and then everyone else do what I say now.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.